Hi, in this tutorial we'll be making a black, white, and pink necklace. For this tutorial you'll need 3 tools. You'll need a pair of wire cutters, a pair of flat nose pliers, and a crimping tool. Okay, we're going to need quite a few beads for this. We're going to need 10 disc-shaped pink shell beads. We're going to need 6 amber-colored round glass beads. We're going to need 2 white round glass beads. We're going to need 37 small white round glass beads, and these ones are pretty small, so make sure they're kind of tiny. We're going to need 4 thick disc-shaped black glass beads. They're the same as these, but they're glass and they're really thick. We're going to need 20 metal spacer beads, and we're going to need 4 rounded rectangular glass beads. The findings that we're going to need are 1 split ring, 2 crimp beads, and 1 lobster clasp. And then you're going to need some beading wire. I suggest you cut about 25 inches because this necklace is going to be at least 18 inches long. To start out, we're going to use one of our crimp beads and just put it right on the end of your beading wire, just like that. And then let's take our split ring first. It really doesn't matter whether you use the lobster clasp or the split ring. But anyway, take one of your split rings, and what you're going to do is just take the end of the beading wire and pass it back through the crimp bead. You should have a loop, and your split ring should be secured onto there. And just kind of slide it up close to the split ring, just like that. And now you're going to take your crimping tool, and there should be 2 grooves. The furthest one back should have a double groove on it, and that's the one you want to use first. So you're going to crush your crimp bead with that, and it should create a dent in the middle. And that's going to help you fold it in half with your first groove. It should be just like a single groove, almost on the end of the crimping tool. And you're going to turn your crimp bead sideways and just fold it right in half. And then there should be a little tiny flat part on the end of your crimping tool. You can just use that to kind of squeeze it down a little bit. You don't have to squeeze hard because the crimp bead is really good at gripping the wire, so if you squeeze it too hard you can just break the crimp bead or weaken it so that it will break pretty soon. So you don't want to be walking around with your necklace and it just falls apart. Okay. And then just trim your wire close to your crimp bead. If you want, you can weave it through the beads, but I like to trim mine. Just make sure you trim it real close to the crimp bead, because if you don't, you'll feel the end scratching your neck as you wear it. Okay, now we're going to start beading. Okay, we're going to start out putting on 4 of our small white glass beads. Okay, 3 and 4. Alright. And now we're going to take one of our rounded rectangular black beads and put that on, followed by a metal spacer. Okay. And now we're going to put on one of our thick black disc-shaped beads, followed by another metal spacer, followed by one more rectangular black glass bead. And then to finish that sequence, we're going to put on 4 more white beads. 3, 4. Okay. So it should be looking like that. Next, we're going to take one of our shell beads, and we're going to put that right on there, followed by one more white glass bead, the really small ones. Alright, and now we're going to put on another metal spacer, followed by one of our amber glass beads, and we're going to put on another metal spacer, then one more white small bead, and then one more shell bead, and then we're going to follow that with 4 more white beads. Three, 4. Okay, now we're going to take one of our metal spacer beads and put that on there, followed by an amber glass bead. And then we're going to take another metal spacer bead, put that on. Now we're going to take one of our large white glass beads, and we're going to put that on there, followed by another metal spacer. Okay, now we're going to take another amber glass bead, put that on there, followed by another metal spacer bead. Now we're going to take one of our small white glass beads, and then we're going to put another metal spacer bead on. Now we're going to put on one of our disc-shaped black beads, one of the thick ones. And we're going to add another metal spacer to that. And now we're going to put on one more white bead. Okay, so that sequence should look like this. And your necklace should be looking like this so far. Now we're going to create the neckline part. So now we're going to put on a bunch of our shell beads. So take one of your shell beads and put that on. And then we're going to follow that with one of our white glass beads, the small ones. And we're going to do that same sequence for about 4 or 5 times. So shell bead, white glass, the small one, one shell bead, one small white glass bead, one shell bead, one small white glass bead, one shell bead, one small white glass bead, one more shell bead, and then one more small white glass bead. Okay, so that's going to be the neckline part. It's going to be right around the neckline. And now we're just going to follow this same pattern right back around to finish the necklace. So now we're going to add one more metal spacer, followed by one of our black disc-shaped beads, and another metal spacer. Now we're going to add a white small round bead and another metal spacer, followed by one of our amber colored beads. Now you should have 2 more of them. Now we're going to add another metal spacer bead, followed by our very last large white glass bead, and followed by one more metal spacer. Now we're going to add another amber colored glass bead, and now you should only have 1 left, followed by one more metal spacer. And this sequence right here is the same one as this one right here. Okay. So now, like we did on the other side, we're going to add 4 more white glass beads. One, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now we're going to take one of our shell beads, put that on. You should have 1 more of them left, followed by one more white, small white glass bead. Now you're going to add one more metal spacer. Now you're going to take your last amber colored glass bead and put that on there. Okay. and then just put on one more metal spacer. Now you should have 2 metal spacers left. Okay. Now put on one more white glass bead. And now you're going to put on your last shell bead. So to finish that sequence, we're going to add 4 more white glass beads like we did on the other side, the really small ones. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, now we just have to add the last sequence. So like we did on the other side, we're going to add one of our rounded rectangular glass beads, and then we're going to add one of our metal spacer beads. You should have 1 metal spacer left. Now you're going to add your black glass disc-shaped bead, followed by 1 more metal spacer bead. You should have none of them left. And then your very last rounded rectangular glass bead. Now to end it, like we did on the other side, we should have 4 white glass beads left, the really small ones. So just put them right on there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we are almost done our necklace. Now we just have to finish it. So to finish our necklace, we're going to take our last crimp bead and just put it right on the end, just like that. And just hold it. And then you're going to take your lobster clasp and put it right on there too. And then like you did with the jump ring, you're just going to take your wire and put it back through. Okay, just make sure it's not twisted. And just like that. And now grab your lobster clasp and the end of the wire and just kind of pull it down. Okay. Just like that. And you're just going to hold the beads and then the end right here of the wire to kind of make sure it doesn't slide all around. And then take your crimping tool, and with the double groove, once again, you're going to crush it. Makes like a little moon shape. And then take the first groove, fold that in half. Okay. And then just kind of crush that a little bit. Okay, just like that. And then the last thing we're going to do is just trim the excess. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim that as close as I can get it. Alright, and there is our finished necklace. Thank you for watching.